I'm Margaret Miller. I'm the director of the Institute for Research in Art, which encompasses the Contemporary Art Museum with the Public Art Program and Graphic Studio. It is with great pride that the Contemporary Art Museum at the University of South Florida presents Homing Devices, an exhibition that looks at the rich contributions of a group of artists with roots in Latin America and the Caribbean. Noel Smith, our curator of Latin American and Caribbean art, collaborated with Corina Matamoros, curator of contemporary Cuban art at the National Museum of Fine Arts in Havana, to organize the exhibition. The curators accomplished their work together over a period of 2 years, largely through email exchanges because of the difficulties of travel between Cuba and the United States currently. The catalog, we hope, will be ready tonight in conjunction with the opening, and hopefully you'll buy it. And if not, there are some educational handouts that have Noel's essay. So for the catalog, Noel offers an introduction to the exhibition theme and describes the works in the show, which I think you'll get some of today. And Noel is also going to read part of Corina Matamoros-Tuma's contributions, since she can't be with us tonight. Oh, this morning. God, what's wrong with me? The theme of the exhibition is broad, encompassing multiple approaches to our understanding and definition of home. The works in the show represent a broad range also of media and styles, and I must say Noel has put about every possible work in the exhibition that you can imagine. I'm wondering if it's all going to even get in there, but I think it will. Much of the current dialogue about art is focused on cultural convergence and the development of an international style of expression. Homing Devices offers viewers an opportunity to consider how the lexicon of the local translates to the global. This exhibition is also one of the many performances and exhibition as part of Arte, the Tampa Bay area's celebration of the arts of Latin America and the Caribbean. Exhibitions of this substance and complexity can only be realized through the generous support of lenders. And we have lenders all over the world, or all over the Latin American and Caribbean world, who have loaned work to the exhibition, from Sao Paulo, from Mexico City, from numerous galleries, from collectors in Lyon, France, and Colorado, and right here from Clearwater Beach. Several of the artists have loaned work directly from their studios, including Maria Fernanda Cardosa, who is here with us today, and also Edouard Duval-Carrier, who is also one of our speakers. They loaned their work directly from the studios, and we are very appreciative of that because we got very, very important works from them. The catalog is trilingual, English, Spanish, and Portuguese, which added another dimension of complexity to the show, but I think very worthwhile to represent the international scope of the exhibition. I want to make a few thank yous to our local supporters, including the Dean of the College of Visual and Performing Arts, Ron Jones, who's here with us this morning, and the staff of the Contemporary Art Museum, Alexa Favada, our Associate Director, who really coordinated all the details of this exhibition. Don Fuller, who's also here working on the camera, designed the catalog and the announcement card. Vicki Billig is hosted with all sorts of administrative details to get the loans and the work shipped here. Peter Foe and David Reuter manage the documentation and registration of the works. Tony Palms, as usual, designed the exhibition and worked with all sorts of preparators, including Denton Crawford, Vincent Kral, Danielle Conkling, and Raul Ramirez to put the show up. Randy West is thanked as our business coordinator for his never-ending patience and management of the budget for the exhibition. And Rebecca Nelson is recognized for her coordination of the opening reception and other related social events. Janie Campbell coordinated travel and arrangements and accommodations for all of our guests. So, with that, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our curator for the exhibition, Noel Smith, who will in turn introduce our speakers and the rest of the program.
Thank you, Margaret. I'd like to thank you for your support of this exhibition. And I won't individually thank everyone who has helped. It's been everyone, and it's been a tremendous undertaking. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and you know who you are. I'd like to mention just briefly, I'm not going to run through who the artists are. I'm not going to run through their slides, but I'd like to mention Karina in her talk will be mentioning, or I will be mentioning for Karina, all of the artists who are in the exhibition. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to mention them all at this time. I would particularly, however, like to thank Maria Fernanda and Edouard. They've been here all week. I've dragged Edouard all over the county talking to people, and they've been lovely and wonderful and very helpful. So I'm going to speak very briefly about the themes of the exhibition, and then I am going to present the talk by Corina Matamoros, who is my co-curator, who did not receive a visa from the U.S. State Department to come and be with us, and so she sent me a disc via Spain. So I will briefly have my remarks and then go on to Karina's talk. A quick internet search for the term homing devices reveals thousands of mentions. A homing device in U.S. military parlance is the mechanism in a guided missile that guides it towards its objective. There are also the GPS systems that are installed in your cars and chips installed in cell phones that allow users to be tracked. The exhibition Homing Devices considers the way contemporary Latin American and Caribbean artists connect with the idea of home in an environment of increasing globalization, mobility, exile, and migration in the Americas. Home is, among other things, a place of origin and residence, a unit formed by family or other social structure, a country or continent, an ethnicity or language, or a place to call one's own. While home can be the most intimate of places and ideas, it is also socially and politically conditioned. The artists whose work is included in this exhibition come from many corners of our Western Hemisphere and beyond, and all have shown their work on the international stage. The artists' homing devices imaginatively locate home and probe its conditions and qualities and address many issues of great importance to our society. These include identity, exile and migration, social inequality, violence, racial and ethnic stereotyping, access to technology, individual and collective memory, religion and spiritual ideas, elitism, the writing of history, surveillance and lack of freedom of speech, and our responses to our natural environment. New technologies and ease of travel seemingly have brought the Americas, North, South, Central, and the islands of the Caribbean closer together, but great divides of culture, language, and history remain. The geographic umbrella term Latin America and the Caribbean presents a convenient yet superficial description. The sprawling region of 41 countries, each with its diverse ethnic, historical, and cultural contexts, resists categorization and therefore defies neat curatorial packaging. Further difficulties include problems of translation, not only of language, but broader aspects of culture and identity. How can audiences come to understand a local context very removed from their own and come to understand the strange beauty of the unfamiliar? Homing Devices offers viewers the opportunity to look through artists' eyes and their own to access various approaches and responses to the social and political tensions between the local and the global. In closing, I'm going to quote distinguished cultural anthropologist Nestor Garcia Conclini, who wrote a very nice essay, insightful essay for our catalog. Artists are like translators. They oscillate between the communicable and the unutterable, and that which perhaps can be said in a different way. Some wish to speak with the highest possible number of interlocutors. Others look to associate themselves with those of their own society, and others who have the ability to tune in with them, even if they are in the minority. One way or another, the intention is to internationalize without abandoning what is one's own. Thank you. All right. All right, I'm going to introduce Corina. Corina Matamoros has a degree in art history from the University of Havana and a degree in museum studies from the School of the Louvre in Paris. She has worked at the National Museum of Fine Arts since 1978, serving as museumologist, assistant director, and curator of the collection of contemporary Cuban art, where she has greatly increased the holdings. She has curated over 20 exhibitions for the museum, and she has also curated priorly. She assisted or was a co-curator on the Carpinteros Inventing the World that we had 2 years ago. She's published more than 40 articles about art and museumology and presented lectures in Havana, Argentina, Ecuador, Spain, the United States, and Martinique. The Ministry of Culture of Cuba recognized her contribution to natural culture with a distinction for national culture in July 2002. All right, hold on a second. All right. So I just push forward backwards here.
Spacebar.
There you go. Okay. I want to thank the administration of USF for its sensitivity, interest, and understanding of Latin American art. I want to particularly thank Margaret Miller for inviting me to be part of this project and for her confidence in my work. I also want to express my pleasure in working with Noel Smith, and thanks also to the excellent professional staff of CAM and Graphic Studio, with whom it is a true honor to share this exhibition. In a bit of a subtle way, the curatorial process of this exhibition has duplicated some of the underlying conceptual premises of homing devices. And works from well-known artists from the Americas, we have analyzed the sense of belonging, of home, of displacements, and living arrangements. And this has come face to face with the concrete reality of how we, as curators, had to work together. Except for one meeting early in the process, we were never able to travel to meet together. We could only communicate over email and could not use normal mail to exchange paperwork or documents. We did not know until the very last minute if we could meet here to install the works of art that, in a way, also allude to the impossibility of meeting. Corroborating the ideas of this exhibition with the actual work process has been very interesting to me and made me think that we were on the right track. There's a famous poem by Konstantinos Kavafi that speaks of Ithaca, the Greek island that was home and kingdom of Ulysses. Kavafi speaks of the advisability of delaying the return to one's country of birth in order to experience life's richness, as Ulysses' journeys described in the Homeric epics. In curating this exhibition, I have thought much about that poem by Kavafi, and I've communed alone with him, asking myself if Ithacas exist in today's world. Something told me that the certitudes that so impressed me in that poem were shattered by what these works tell me. I'm an ordinary curator. I'm incapable of explaining everything that happens. I feel that the world changes in exponential bounds, and I'm not sure it's for the best. Above all, I see enormous inequalities among people, millions of dispossessed beings, and the concentration of economic power that determines the lives of all, increasing and multiplying those differences to perpetuate themselves. Things haven't been any better throughout history, but perhaps it could be different. Today we suffer from a pandemic of uncertainty. The home is this place we inhabit, but it's also the distant place we dream of, the journey we embark upon, and the anxiety of the return. The home has left the house, has scattered among unforeseen spaces, taking us by surprise. It has left the house, and with it so have the attendant gods, the prodigious and the unprodigious sons, the daughters and the elderly, Ulysses and Penelope, the pigman and his wife. Even time and space have changed, as if other laws of physics had suddenly had suddenly imposed a new, I'm sorry, but I'm apparently not pressing this right. Okay. Even time and space have changed as if other laws of physics hadn't suddenly imposed a new set of precepts. We come into contact with cultures that seem to be living in another historic present, similar to a distant past, while in other cultures time goes by fast, quickened precipitously by television. The giant movements of people and families by force or choice, change the notions of distance, while electronic messaging seems to be the grand vedette of human communication. What heritage today molds me into an inhabitant? Deep inside, art, like science, is always a question mark. And the works in this exhibition are formulated as interrogations about the sense of belonging, about the way we are and what we carry with us, about the spaces in which we seat our aspirations and contingencies, about the orisha that Duval Carrier transplants as a tree of life, about the rewriting of history proposed by the architecture of the city in Garakoa's books, about the ambivalent appropriation that a territory provokes in us, or about the ability to adhere to multiple identities and finding the most convenient mix, about people's desires and their insistence in connecting them to microcircuits that are unaware of globalization, about the alarming remedy of displacement, as if the entire planet forced to flee projected itself only in paddles, as Cacho imagines it. It's no longer enough for the planet to rotate on its axis and set about its program ellipse about the sun. The days, nights, and seasons are not sufficient. Now we must continuously move like marauders, like a great planet paddle, rushing headlong from one place to another, carrying our bodies, our house, and city, like a camelo or street vendor. When Abel Barroso builds a wooden bridge that connects unequal landscapes, two worlds, and contradictory ways of life, placing videos from different cities on each extreme, he does so with the cruel grimace of the unease produced by a toy that is assembled and disassembled from the most rudimentary pieces of wood. Threads and joints have been handmade as unique works, and arduous labor in an outdated technology that ancient Roman engineers would have laughed at in order to make transparent the difficult transition from one society to another, a complicated experience faced today by millions of people. A bridge to the first world imagined from the third world, a vision of belongings that materialized in a two-way highway. I don't know what Cavafy would think about that slippery identity of the work of Luis or Miguel, understood as a connection, like a net woven between people where the small desires of people are given priority of place. Those desires that usually don't register in the majority of discourses and which weave together everyday life. In these footprints of desire, the artist connects families divided in two lands, organizing the sending of shoes in an operation where people speak almost confessionally about their particular likes and needs, and where the shoes symbolize each individual with that part of the world that has moved beyond their family surroundings. It's a connection like a mantle that envelops everything, uniting people and events far away from those islands and destinations that Ulysses confronted in the daring, discontinuous journeys of his long life. I don't know what Cavafy would think now, what voyages are exceedingly abbreviated, and when, even before we return, we electronically send home photos from strange places that are no longer strange. I do not know what Cavafy would think of the model of no country, no nation, only the interior world of the individual, the subjective patrimony of man as center of the universe sustained by the works of Ernesto Leal. Or what he would have thought of Josangela Hino's Strange Fruits, were overly bucolic scenes, so as not to awaken suspicions, embark on a voyage through the memorial archives of childhood. Or what he would have thought of the model of historic recuperation of an earlier artistic patrimony as a nest to which one can belong, like a tradition of shelter in the works of Espiritu Santo, where the mysterious artifacts are polished with an enigma similar to certain Incan stones, or in the fusion of Chagoya's cultural signs, or of the fiction that pairs with history to create new meanings like in Maki and Garakoa's works, or of the incredible utilization of the animal world like a metonym of the social body in Cardoso's magnanimous display windows. I do not know what he would think when the most intimate of human refuges, the bed in which we dream every night, has been transformed into a giant highway by Los Carpinteros, a bed made ready for our insistence on dreaming we travel or traveling while we dream. I don't know what Cavafy would think if, as Sildo Mireles intuits, I am a camelot, a street vendor, and pack my world in a suitcase. If I carry with me the goods I sell, and I set up here and there, of course taking care to evade the authorities, is it true that any place is a good place to live and to sell? Why do we immigrate then? Why do so many people die trying to reach another shore, sea, land, frontier, another street, another house? I don't know what Cavafy would think, but I no longer know what Ithacas mean. Thank you.